The Rancho Palos Verdes City Council urged Edison to make safeguarding our city's nature preserve from fire a top priority. Councilman Jerry DeHovic said that fire danger in the preserve is probably the most important issue that concerns him. As the temperatures heat up, fire danger becomes more of a threat for all Southern California residents. Los Angeles County fire officials determined Edison's equipment caused at least 4 fires since 2005, including 2 in 2012. Together, those fires burned over 378 acres. Councilwoman Susan Brooks said that when it comes to power outages, it is the elderly who are the most vulnerable, with many people on ventilators. Customers with any service issue should call 800-611-1911. And while we're enjoying our summer weather, our skin needs more attention to protect it from the dangers of the sun. I sat down with Dr. Lisa Chips, who talks about how much sun is too much and the real dangers from tanning beds.
We should all be cautious, especially in Southern California. We should all be cautious of the sun. We're getting plenty of sun just going day to day, on the freeway and to the markets and to our appointments and to work. We're getting enough sun to get vitamin D. For those who are deficient, we recommend supplements of vitamin D, not going to the sun for your source of vitamin D. And most fair-skinned people especially should be wearing a sunscreen every day to protect against those harmful rays. Tanning bed is pure ultraviolet radiation, so it's the worst rays of the sun all packed into one unit. Okay. So it takes a lot less time in a tanning bed to get the sun damage to your skin. A tan is your skin's reflex saying that it's damaged, that you have damage to the skin. So a tan is a reflex of your skin to indicate that it's time to back off of the ultraviolet radiation. So tan is actually not healthy.
And for those of us that want to maintain a healthy tan, spray-on tanning, lotions, and tanning towels are all good, safe ways to maintain a healthy glow year-round. And it's that time of year again when students are getting ready to get back to school. Liz Brown Swanson and I give you some tips on how to make your shopping trip a little easier.
Do we really need all of this stuff for back to school?
What we're about to go through, which are typical back to school supplies, Maria, this isn't even the half of it. Now, for many of the parents and the students watching right now, I know you can go onto your school's websites.
They'll have lists, right?
Teachers put them out in the summertime to prepare you about the basics you need.
Okay.
Maria, I've had 3 kids that have gone through the schools here, and I have to say, over time with experience, that the lists are going to guide you, but really, when it's said and done on the first day of school, your kids need to go to school with their backpack.
Right, backpack is good. And we're going to talk about that not being heavy.
Yes, and some pencils and some pens and a notebook.
Exactly.
And then, because I do find that the teachers do modify those lists and they change them, and it gets very expensive as you're getting the supplies you need.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some supplies. Like, for instance, glue sticks. You said you can never have enough of these, especially for younger kids.
You can never have enough glue sticks, and of course, depending if your kid's in elementary school, it'll be a different type of list.
Okay.
Elementary kids tend to need the crayons and the marker pens and all of that. Although you'll find the same thing with middle school students, high school students. A lot of the same supplies. For me, the way I've managed it is that I think it's better to buy in bulk.
Okay.
And I also have a school supply cabinet at home.
All right.
And so I have things, because you'll find over the course of the year, your kids are telling you at 8 o'clock at night
that they need something.
They need the report card
tomorrow
cover. And you're out of those. And at 8 o'clock at night, you're making the trip to the store.
Exactly.
So to avoid that, if you keep stuff well stocked at home, like the pens, the pencils, the glue sticks, scissors, all of that, it's good.
Okay, now Liz, I know you have a really handy organizer that goes inside of the organizer, a little pouch.
Again, it's all about organization, Maria, and you're right. These pouches are great. They fit right in the 3-ring binder, and they hold quite a bit. The main thing is their pencils, their pens, their markers. Colored pencils, a little scissor, glue
so that you're not losing that stuff. It's not just falling out.
And the nice thing is, you'll find that the teachers are wanting similar supplies.
Okay.
And so your kids can put in one pouch all of the typical supplies.
Nice. And then that just goes right into the binder, right?
Right. Or they can just leave it loose in the backpack. It does fit. Nice. But they can just pull it out for every class.
Very cool.
Which brings us to
the backpack.
The backpack.
Okay, the backpack's the most important thing. All right.
Of course. And picking out a backpack with the kids, there's so many choices.
Right.
I try to encourage my kids to get this type initially, because right now we're hearing about how heavy these backpacks are getting. It's really, the rule of thumb is I read from the Pediatric Association that a kid's backpack shouldn't really weigh more than 20% of their body weight.
Which is going to be roughly, what, 20 to 10 pounds,
Yeah,
maybe?
exactly. So depending on the kid. So these ones on wheels are nice.
But they say an average backpack weighs up to about 30 pounds, which is just too much with books and supplies.
Right.
So you want to make sure you're not overstuffing the backpack, because that can cause back pain
Or
problems
when you're
later.
distributing the weight, I know the kids, they're all in a rush, they're not going to do this, but tend to put the heavier items in the center,
right.
in the back of the backpack. I absolutely, any backpack I've ever bought for my kids has to have side pouches, and the reason
for the
is
water bottles.
Water bottles,
Yep.
which, you know, they'll go to school with a couple water bottles.
Now, is this something you should actually bring your son or daughter with you to buy, because it's something that they want to look at?
My
and
kids
make
always
sure?
wanted to pick out their own backpack.
Yeah,
because
because they're all different colors and it's fun. So
important to them.
Okay.
So I have to say the main thing is just again, check your inventory at home so
Right.
you're not duplicating.
Be organized.
But once you are starting to pick your supplies, you know, get everything in bulk. You'll save a lot of money. Have a set space in your home that your kids know they can go to find the pens and pencils. And I have one other little suggestion, and that is, I've done this in my youngest son's room. In his closet, I have a hanging organizer.
Nice.
So there's 6 shelves. These are, you know, this is $10. So you hang it up, and then you can put paper, colored papers, folders, pens and pencils.
So you can really be organized within your own home as well.
Yeah, because again, making a successful year is, you know, if your kids are feeling rushed, if your kids feel like they don't have what they need, you know, it's distracting, and we want to keep them focused and on task.
Exactly. Now, do you need things like staplers, calculators? What other kind of things do we need?
The kids don't really. There will be teachers that say, you know, bring Scotch tape, bring a stapler, and all of that. But in general, they don't. It really comes down to the basics.
Okay.
Your pens, your pencils, your colored pencils, things like that. One other thing is I can't tell you how many times. Well, actually,
huge.
You know, it only took me a few times to have this happen.
And then you got smart.
Always have at least a couple poster boards tucked away in a closet.
Exactly.
Because again, even though we all try to figure out what our kids have due when,
they need it
will tell you at
by the next
8:30,
day.
Mom, I have to do a demonstration tomorrow in science.
Right.
And I need a poster board.
And maybe even posters, probably just paper. Yes, is that another good thing to have? Okay,
it's good to have good sheets of all that construction paper on hand, because you know, everyone's trying to.
You can never have enough.
You can never have enough, and you know, it's just, there's a lot to go through. But you know, check the school websites for the lists.
Get the lists and get going ahead of time
and have fun.
And since you're never too old to get back in the classroom, Palos Verdes on the Net is offering classes for seniors to learn about computers. Robert Dottie tells us more.
This class is a basic computer class. It's designed for people who've never had a computer before. It is designed for senior citizens. Most, probably all of the people that take this class are over 65, probably retired. They've never had a computer before. But as I tell them at the beginning, we go as fast as the slowest learner, so that everybody by the end of each session should have gotten an understanding of what they have to do with that session, how to turn the computer on, for example. It's a very friendly class. People learn a lot. And if somebody knows something and the person next to them doesn't quite get it, we quite often have the equivalent of each one teach one, where the person next to them will be leaning over and helping them to do something on the computer. At a minimum, number one, they're not afraid of the computer. Secondly, they're able to use email. And thirdly, they feel confident in searching the internet. Seniors, more than anybody else, tend to become isolated. Most of them live in their own home. Maybe they have a spouse, and that's about it. With the computer, they can be in touch with the world. Through the internet, they can find out all kinds of amazing things. With email, they can finally communicate to their children, to their grandchildren, without having to run up a big expensive telephone bill if they're in another state. And most important of all, for most of the senior citizens, they can get pictures of their grandchild or their great-grandchild, and they can look at them and marvel at them and go, oh, isn't he beautiful? Oh, such a lovely girl. And they just love that. Thanks to the PV on the Net, for Palos Verdes residents, it's free.
And coming up next, Freedom for You jazzes it up at the Terranea Resort, and athletes and celebrities come out for a very special cause at Trump National.